Hi, friends. I'm Katie.
And I'm Lauren. And welcome to Okay, but Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Bob's Burgers Season 4, Episode 21, Wharf Horse, and Episode 22, World Wharf II, How Bob Saves/Destroys the Town. This is a two-parter, so I did the full synopsis together for the entire episode. So we have one synopsis, but we're talking about both episodes as we go forward. So, Mr. Fishodor is trying to get people to come to Wonder Wharf and has reopened the Screamacane. Felix brings his girlfriend, Fanny, to Bob's Burgers and tells Bob he is negotiating selling Wonder Wharf and building condos. Felix believes bringing condos to the wharf will make Bob rich and convinces him to distract his older brother so he can show the developers around. The kids discover Tina's favorite ride, the carousel, is being destroyed. Louise uses a bike lock to tie Tina to one of the horses to protect the horses. Fishodor hears the plan about the condos when Linda tells Franny in the car and forces Bob to have to convince Fishodor to sell Wonder Wharf. Mr. Fishodor agrees to sell the wharf and they discover that Tina is locked to the horse. The kids and everyone on the wharf finds out through Bob that they're selling the wharf and the kids are not happy. Tina expresses their dismay and changes Bob's mind about destroying Wonder Wharf. Bob convinces Mr. Fishodor to not sell the wharf. This leads to a very angry Felix. Felix ties up Bob and Mr. Fishodor under the pier during low tide. He leaves them to die, and the two struggle to contact Linda to save them. Linda and the kids search for Bob, doing all they can to figure out what the odd text he keeps sending them mean. The tide is coming in quickly, and Linda and the kids finally find Bob and Fishodor. Felix goes to save the two, followed by the Belchers, but Franny steps in and holds everyone up. She nearly kills everyone when Linda rams one of the boats into a nearby piling. The carousel begins to fall through the pier, nearly crushing everyone below. Franny is arrested and everyone survives in the end. I am very proud of that.
That was very good, but now you know what I deal with.
Yes, I'm not. I'm like I got my little like 20-ish minute episodes usually that are
Yeah,
really easy to do.
and yours are mostly like vibes. Mine are
Yeah.
mostly like, and then this happened, but then that happened, but then this thing also happened, and now another timeline.
Bob's makes sense to be able to do just vibes unless you have an episode like this. Um
I would say the only episode there's two episodes for Once Upon a Time that I think I could make a synopsis based off of vibes. And it's the one where they're all cursed to hate each other for no particular reason. They just all are at each other's throats and they're just fighting the whole time, and it's really fucking funny. And the other one is the musical episode.
I cannot wait for the
That's in
musical
season
episode. Oh my
6. It's
goodness.
gonna take some time, but you're gonna get there.
So with this is our first time where we do not have an intro. There are no puns in the beginning because they need to, of course, utilize all the time to get the story told. We
Mm-hmm.
do have a burger of the day featured in the special, though.
Yes, there was one singular burger of the day. It was the saffron saff off burger.
This is for Mr. Miyagi's infamous, wax on, wax off line in The Karate Kid. But also, saffron is extremely expensive.
Oh yeah.
So all I can think seeing this is like how many burgers did he actually get to make? Because saffron is the most expensive herb in existence. Like it's
Considering he spent most of the day not at the burger restaurant, I'm gonna go with not many.
Not many. How much saffron did he buy is the question while they're
Yeah.
struggling, it's Bob. And
It's
of
true.
course, we do have Zach Galifianakis back as Felix. Bill Hader is back as Mickey. We see a lot of characters throughout the show kind of in this. It feels like a finale because everyone's just there.
I wrote down, I'm like, are we just going through every side character we see regularly?
We are. Did you figure out who plays Fanny?
No, the voice was bothering me because it sounded so familiar.
It's Jordan Peele.
That was Jordan Peele? That's why it sounded familiar.
That's why it sounds familiar. Like I said, whenever Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele jump into this freaking show, you can't help but love the episode, and then you can't even realize half the time it's them. I love it so much. So the full title parodies two movies: War Horse and Doctor Strangelove. Because I did not know that it was Doctor Strangelove or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. I don't know why this is. I didn't know that was a full thing because this is actually the longest ever Bob's Burgers title because they count how Bob saves/destroys.
Oh, okay.
So, The flyers that Fish Odor is handing out at the beginning of the episode, trying to get people to
Mhm.
come into the Wonder Wharf, because obviously he's not making enough money. He's like, why are people not in here? Please come in. Of course, even yelling at the guy is like, you don't have a job. Come in here. Like, yes, because he can afford to go on all the rides.
My question is though, if Wonder Wharf is failing, how is he able to buy up so much land?
It's Fish Odor.
Yeah, that's fair.
They inherited their wealth, if you've
That
noticed, because they talk
that's
about his
also
dad. Their
yes.
dad, he definitely
Mhm.
inherited his wealth. Um, but the flyers read, "What's wrong with everyone? Why aren't you down at Wonder Wharf?"
Like truthfully, is he could learn a few tactics from Walt Disney. He at least learned from his customers what to fix and how to fix things.
Exactly. So continuity. You saw the bathroom.
Yes, I did see the
We've seen
bathroom.
the all the different things. A poster for the deepening, the shark, can be seen when Bob and Mr. Fishoder exit the Scream-a-Cane.
I saw that.
It has a close sticker on it.
Mhm. I saw
So
it.
more continuity. We know which thing is the toilet in the bathroom now.
Yes, it's the one in the back.
It's the one in the back because, Felix insists on peeing
Yes.
right
And
there.
not washing his hands.
So he has that moment where he claims that he doesn't like degrading nicknames. He screams it.
Mhm.
Only then to immediately call Franny his dirty, flirty little squeeze thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say that
okay.
Lil Fish isn't a bad nickname for Felix.
It really isn't. He doesn't. He definitely does not like living in his brother's shadow. Hence, this entire 2-part episode of the
Yeah.
two of them.
Yeah.
Well, not even the two of them going at it. Felix is just very much like, this is my annoying little brother. This is what I have to deal with. But it's okay. He'll get through it. And then, like, ending with, I get one free punch.
Yeah.
You tied me to a pier and nearly killed me,
Mhm.
and I get to hit you. Like,
Yes.
I will never understand Calvin Fishoder, but it is what it
No.
is.
Yeah.
So when Teddy assaults the maitre d',
Mhm.
he yells, "Give me back my son." This was a
Yeah.
reference to a popular line from Ransom, the 1996 Mel Gibson movie.
Gotcha.
And more continuity. You remember officers Julia and Cliffany?
Mhm.
They can be seen escorting Fanny into the back of the police car. They have not had speaking roles since season 1, but they do sometimes appear in the background. So when you said
Okay.
every side character, they really said every side character you've pretty much
Every
seen up to
single
this
side.
point.
Yep, every single side character.
And this one I don't like. I don't like this
Mhm.
note. It makes me feel uncomfortable. But Fanny has nicknames for her breasts.
Yeah.
Milo and Otis. And
Uh-huh.
that's from the 1986 Japanese film The Adventures of Milo and Otis, about the puppy and the kitten. Please don't
I
name
don't
your boobs after that.
I don't like that.
I don't like that at all.
No.
But I wrote down a lot of notes through this. I think we probably highlighted similar lines. This is our first big 2-parter. You get your first, what I call your first real musical act within
Yeah.
this, because you don't really have anything like this other than Topsy up until this
Mhm.
point. And I don't really count Topsy because Topsy is already a performance that they're doing in the show. Like,
Well,
it's part of it.
there was the musical song. There was a musical song. There was a musical number that they did when Linda left the diner
Okay,
to
you have
work
that
at the
one
Trader
too. Yeah.
Joe's. Yes, there was
They did
that.
do that little song. You are
The
right. I
Greasy
forgot
Spoon
about
song.
that one.
I don't remember what it was called, but I'm calling it the Greasy Spoon.
I've watched so much of Bob's Burgers. I sometimes forget where we are in the timeline. But this was like our first, I want to say big one because it's a 2-parter.
Mhm.
I completely forgot about that
Yeah.
song now. But I think this one's longer.
No, it definitely is. And with this one, you have the aspect of you have the good things are good at the very beginning, very major key,
Yep.
very upbeat, and then you have the mirror of it with bad things are bad in a minor key. I'm like, I appreciate this musical theory.
Isn't it great?
Yeah,
Remember when I told you that Bob's was going to get really musical?
I appreciate this.
Welcome. It is
Yay.
time. I do have to admit, I do kind of really like the relationship Fish Odor has with the Belcher children,
Hmm.
because he does treat them as children, but he's also
Yeah.
very straightforward with them, and I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Um, I did also write, the idea of a third kid would also make me scream.
Yeah. Well, contrarily to that, I wrote down Ferris thrills are terrifying. I'm with Bob, so we both took him screaming for different reasons.
So if you're saying if we ever end up on a Ferris wheel, there's going to be screaming somehow.
I can't say I would be screaming, but I would be clinging to the side of it because
Same.
honestly, I've yet to be on what seems like a well-built Ferris wheel in a very long time.
I'm the same. I'm not a huge fan of them. So like I like fair rides. I like park rides. I like going. We go mainly go to like Six Flags if we go to
Yeah.
something. So like I like roller coasters.
I
There's
love roller
something about
coasters.
the added like inertia and you're moving and it's short and sweet and you're like, okay, if anything happens, at least it'll happen in this next minute. When
Mhm.
you're on a Ferris wheel, you get just stuck there, sitting high up in the air, never knowing what could happen. There's no
Yeah.
movement. You're just frozen in fear.
Mhm.
I would prefer the 60-mile-an-hour roller coaster going in a loop de
Yeah.
loop to that.
Yeah, I am very much a give me a hard and fast, and yes, I'm realizing what I just said. Give me a roller coaster. As I'm aware of what I said as I said it. Give me a roller coaster that is fast. It's doing the bumps. It's doing. I'm not always the biggest. I'm not always the biggest fan of. Yes, now I'm just doing it on purpose. I'm not always the biggest fan of the inversions, but I like fast. I like fast roller
I do
coasters.
too.
You have the mind of a 12-year-old
I
boy.
do. I literally just told you in the last episode that I was confused because there was a room of too many attractive people. I don't know. Like, I'm a child.
One of which being a very hot mommy.
I mean, both. I
Or
must
two very
say,
hot
technically,
mommies.
they're both hot mommies.
Two very hot mommies. Only one of them
Then
could
you
be
add in the
ours though.
morally gray
Um,
mustachioed
mm,
man.
yes, there is that. The scruffy man. But so it's I back to
Oh
my
yeah,
point. I prefer the hard like the fast roller coasters versus slow and nauseating
yeah.
rides. Like I do, there are slow because I'm very much like I go to Disney World. I think I've mentioned that various times on the podcast, and like it's like the slow rides. I'm good with the slow rides depending on which ones. The Haunted Mansion's one of my favorite rides.
Okay.
That's not a roller coaster whatsoever. It's a you get in. They call them the Doom buggies, and you go through the Haunted Mansion. You look at all like the cool animatronics and
Oh, but I would love that though.
it's my favorite ride because it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of whimsy. I am the asshole, and I said this, I went on with a friend of mine that I met through TikTok, Sophie, and we went on Haunted Mansion together. And I knew she would appreciate this. There's towards the very end, you kind of go through the house, and you end up in the graveyard scene, and they're singing "Grim Grinning Ghosts" in the graveyard. But every time I go through it, and she did it with me, I just start singing "A Blessing on Your Head, Mazel Tov," which is from Fiddler on the Roof. It's no
Yeah.
context, but if anyone who has seen Fiddler and has been on the Haunted Mansion, they kind of make sense. So I got to do that with her because I'm that asshole that's doing that the entire time. But like, I much prefer the fast roller coasters. However, I am not a fan of the wooden roller coasters you see on piers because those do not look safe to me. Doesn't matter how long it's been there. Like the Cyclone at Coney Island, I've never been on it. No desire. Those just do not appeal to me because I don't want to feel like I'm gonna fall off.
Well, it like makes me think though. I don't know if the Screamer Cane is. I think the Screamer Cane is the same one in the baseball episode
Yeah, another
where
one.
all the
Didn't it
bolts
start
and
breaking?
pieces are dropping.
Yeah,
Yeah, it started breaking. That's why he said it's open again.
yeah.
It's now reopened. So that one's definitely terrifying. With all these different things we just said, I can't help but go into the next line that I highlighted was
hmm
what's a couple of inches between friends?
What was it at the
So
very
yes, I
end?
do in fact have the mind of a 12-year-old because I wrote that down hours ago.
Yeah. Well, was it the very end of? I thought I wrote it down, but oh yeah. When they're on the roller coaster and it gets stopped. And Bob is just like you should or you shouldn't sell the wharf, and Fish Order just goes, "What are you gonna kiss me now? Well, you used to be straight. Who knows with you, Mister Flippy Floppy?"
Which is so much better because Bob is not straight.
Not at all.
Not at all. Speaking of the whole little interaction between him and Linda,
Mm-hmm.
we can call him up, tell him we're looking to swing, see if he's into it. No. What? We're cute. Like Linda.
But to be fair, she wasn't into swinging when it was her parents. But now that she's gonna try and do that, like,
She wants she wants
just
that
saying.
condo money. But I love that.
I'm just saying. I do love that, but I will say the condo money. As someone who goes to a beach town every year, like I mean New England beach town. I'm not saying like I go to the Hamptons. I go to somewhere else in New England. Um,
Yeah.
not fancy, but still. Um, the closer you are to the beach, the less upscale you want the place to be if you plan on it having any beach access. Because regardless of the upscaleness of your restaurant, if it has beach access, you're gonna have people coming through in bathing suits.
Oh, most definitely.
Like so, like Bob's. bistro on the beach with burgers and fries or whatever else they called it. Like, if you can have it near the beach, near the condos,
Mm-hmm.
not on the beach. Don't have it with beach access if you want it to be any level of upscale. Just personally.
I did really love the line when they are over in King's Head Island, and he just Fish Odor yells, "You can't just leave a kidnapping to go shopping. This isn't
This isn't
Florida.
Florida.
What happens in Florida?"
I wrote that down too.
I had a feeling.
It goes back to I think I mentioned the Simpsons joke of Florida. That's America's wang. Everyone just assumes everything awful happens in Florida.
I mean, have you seen the Florida Man
Yes, I
tidbits?
have. I have seen the Florida Man news.
So much Florida Man. No, thank you.
You can't make this shit up.
All the texting. All I could sit here and think is, remember T9?
Not the T9 texting. I do remember the
The
T9
T9
texting.
texting.
I'm also with Fish Order. Like, I know smartphones are expensive. They were then, they are now. But
Mm-hmm.
like, and he's like, it's a phone. It makes calls. It's good for what a phone is good for. Like, I'm with Fish Odor. Yes, you can make fun of him for still having a flip phone.
Okay, but the shrimp emoji, I was like, we didn't have emojis on a
We
flip
did not have
phone.
a. You cannot do shrimp emoji. I do love though the
That's an
shrimp emoji as
emoticon.
it's an emoticon. The shrimp emoji as a non sequitur though. I love that that's been a thing forever because that's still a thing today. Of like when you don't know what to send someone, fried shrimp. Like I don't. It's
Yep.
like I don't know what to do there. So I do love that that as a non sequitur random emoji has been going on for at least since 2014, 2015.
Well, wasn't that one of the things that Eliza Schlesinger does on one of her stand-up
Yes,
jokes?
it was one. It was like what do you send these responses? One of them was just fried shrimp.
Because the guy was being dumb or something, or just being
Yeah.
ridiculous, and it's just reached a
Hmm.
point of like, I cannot constitute a response to this, so this is what you get, and
Yeah. It's
it's
just
been
the
a
fried
thing.
shrimp
I
emoji.
love it. I love it so much.
Hmm.
The photographic butt memory.
Yeah, that's a very specific skill no one asked for.
You
Very
can't say you
helpful.
can't. I was say you can't say much though.
It's but yeah, it's
And
not really. It's not. It's I would put that in the same category of like my having scenes from Once Upon a Time memorized. It's one of those semi-useless skills that like
yep,
you really shouldn't have it, but it may come in handy at some point. Semi-useless.
it's semi useless. The last line that I wrote down was, "I tried blow. We were going to do that together, just once." When Linda's like, "Wait a minute, don't try blow without me." Like Linda in this episode is phenomenal.
Yeah. I also wrote down. I wrote in. Yeah. I also wrote down the tide is coming in at the same speed it always does. Don't blame the ocean on this.
No, it's all Felix's fault.
And then at the very end, they're escaping to Mexico or whatever's across the ocean. What's over there? And then I added, I don't know, Europe,
I mean,
New Jersey.
but
It's New
oh
Jersey.
man, oh god, I wish there was a response like that though. Like just somebody saying something like that. I don't know, the thing that's across, like Tina at least.
I want to. I want to. What's on the same latitude as New Jersey? I want to look this up
Oh
now.
goodness, that's pretty high up, isn't
Here's our
it?
you googling. I was right. Okay, I didn't write. I wrote down just I don't know Europe, but in my mind I'm like I don't know Spain. So apparently, based on most maps, that New Jersey is on the same amount north of the equator as Spain and Portugal.
That's really funny.
So I was right.
Does that mean like a similar climate then?
Um,
Somewhat.
I would
I
assume.
think it depends also on elevation, but
Yeah, there's also that.
they have to take that into consideration. So,
Here's a geology lesson for the day.
how'd you feel about Franny or Fanny? I said Fran.
I think it's
It's
Fanny.
Fanny. I don't know why I said
You wrote
Franny.
down for. Yeah, I was like you wrote down Fanny. I'm like I'm pretty sure it's
It's
Fanny.
Fanny. I have a brain.
She much like Bronconius, I started out the episode rooting for her, going like, seven bras, good for you. What else did I write
Dance
about? I
club
think I wrote down
and
a couple. The dance club, she knows what she knows her worth. She knows what she's good for. And then at the very end, I was where did I write? I write down somewhat stuff. I went, no, Fanny, no holding up the rescue. I trusted you.
no.
These characters they keep disappointing me.
It's definitely a ride though, and then of course, like I said, we got to see everybody because so many people are in the second song. I mean, you have
Yeah,
Tammy, Rudy, Zeke, everybody essentially shows
everybody.
up, and it's I think the only one. Did we see Marshmallow?
No, Marshmallow wasn't in this one.
I think Marshmallow was like one of the few that we didn't see. But I mean, even bringing in Jimmy Jr.,
Yeah,
Jimmy Pesto, everybody, it was nice. It felt like a finale,
it
which
did.
I liked.
Yeah.
There's something about doing the two-parters. It feels more like a finale,
Mm-hmm.
and even though they don't do it all the time, I hope they do it more
Yeah.
because they still can.
Mm-hmm. So is the carousel, is that still broken through the pier in the beginning of season 5?
I don't remember if it's broken through, but I don't think we ever see it again. So I think they keep the continuity
That the
of that
carousel's gone. Gotcha.
that ride's gone.
Gotcha.
I don't remember if they keep it or like how that ties in with season 5. We'll find
Mm-hmm.
out,
Yeah.
in a couple weeks. But I want to say that's still one of their continuity things because knowing them, like
Yeah.
it's gonna be because they are very good at that. Even I mean, scarily good at that. Honestly,
Well,
in a cartoon,
I stand by my statement of once you change something and whatever your base
like
animation is,
just leave it
it's
that
easier
way.
to leave it that way.
I'm so excited, but I think that's all my notes and that's
Yeah.
all my little fun facts, which is still a lot of fun things. I know we didn't have
Yeah.
burgers of the day, but we
No, we
had
didn't.
music.
I still found other things to comment on. So there's no lack of strange commentary on my end.
But you had music.
I did have music. I know kudos to Mickey for upholding the height restriction at least the first time on the Scream McCain. Obviously the
Yeah.
second time was safety second. No. But like cuz when they did go on the Scream McCain, I'm like Louise is going to go flying because like those height
Yeah. Oh
restrictions are
yeah.
there, they're there for a reason. And like people who do go to Disney, like they post like here's hacks to get your kid above the height restriction,
Oh,
like
I hate those.
you are just screaming for a lawsuit basically. Like
Oh
you're
yeah.
basically what you're doing is your kid's gonna get hurt and you're gonna find a reason to sue the park even though you did this on purpose, like putting your
And
kids in
has
certain shoes
anybody
and socks and no.
seen but like as if anybody's seen how Disney is about a lot of things, they have people that will very quickly look up to try and figure out have you posted anything on the internet as to how your child got hurt because they will
Yeah.
look into that very quickly of like did because they do these people are posting that to the internet of like put
Hmm.
lifts in their shoes or do this, don't do it, please don't do it.
No, please. It's like free, the height restrictions are there for your children's safety. At the end of the day, the rides are designed for certain heights because that's how the safety. Because if your kid isn't tall enough, the safety bar will only go down so far. It won't reach them, so
Hmm.
your kid's gonna be bumping up and down. Like something I learned a lot about, so, like other safety regulations. If you ever seen videos of people getting on the Tower of Terror, what they
Don't that's a nope.
I love
Sorry,
that. Sorry, I love that ride. But
I hate that raid.
a reason why, because again, it's fast. It gives me no, but here's the thing: is it gives me anxiety. It gives me so much anxiety. I'm clinging to it the whole time, right before like the doors open and you're in the drop shaft, which I did learn
Yeah.
actually before I get to my point. It doesn't drop you. That wouldn't actually be fast enough. There's a cable underneath that pulls the cart down, so it goes down faster. Yeah, I didn't
We
know
are
that.
going to be we are going to end up in an amusement park together one day. I'm speaking this into existence, and I have no idea how that's gonna go.
I will say I love the Tower of Terror because it's that drop ride, but it's also enclosed. Other than if you get to when you get to the very top, you get that very
Okay.
first one. It's enclosed. I don't like the bouncy drop rides that are just like a
I hate
tower of
those.
people.
That's what I was saying.
I
Yeah.
hate that. I like
When
the
I look
Tower
up
of
the one
Terror.
at there's one at Six Flags where like everybody's just their feet are hanging off, and they always the guy that tends to run it usually does his little songs and his little all right, we're gonna count, and then drops it on 3.
Nope.
Like my husband's been trying to get me to go on it with him for years. I no, because I've always told people I don't have a fear of heights. I have a fear of falling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
No,
going to
that I can't
automatically
stand.
put myself on a ride that makes me fall.
No, exactly. That I don't do. I don't want to be able to see the world coming at me. No, none of that.
Nope.
I with
Nope.
the drops and everything. That's all in the dark. So that's my point of why I like the Tower of Terror. My point of this is, if you ever see videos of like the ride starting at the very least, something that they have everyone do once they confirm, like yeah, everyone pulls the tab to make sure their seatbelt is on. They have everyone raise their arms
Mhm.
because there was a kid that at one point his thing was sealed, but he purposefully held his seatbelt out so he would go up faster. After that, they make sure you can't be holding up because once it's zipped, you can't pull it back out again. It locks. So they make people do that to make sure that you cannot be holding your seatbelt out further than your body. Because the seatbelt
Oh
is
my
there to make sure
god.
you like you'll lift out of your seat a little bit. If your seatbelt is attached properly,
Mhm.
you'll lift out a little bit. There's a little bit. It's not like tight holding it down. There's a little bit of give. But there's no reason why anyone should be flying. That's
No.
not
No,
safe.
thank
It's a
you.
box. It's
Nope.
not safe. But yeah, so they're very specific about their their safety. Like that's like when I was on soaring, which isn't even like a fast ride, but it's just they have their safety regulations for a reason. Most of the seatbelt ones that pull on the yellow tab on the seatbelt to make sure it's attached. And the people next to us went, "Why?" And I didn't say out loud, but I wanted to be like, "Who cares why? Just do it." Like this isn't a questioning. Like they're making sure it's
Mm-hmm.
attached properly, and they'll be able to tell if you don't have your seat. At least for soaring, I've seen like the control box. They can see if your thing isn't attached. Like they can see like there's lights like red and
Yeah.
green lights. They can see if it's not if your seatbelt isn't attached. But like, why ask what? Just do it. Who cares why?
And like roller coasters are weird too. They're terrifying. Like if you,
Mm-hmm.
we've all seen Final Destination, because like there's one roller coaster that I always thought was really funny. Because like I said, we mostly go to Six Flags in Atlanta, and
Yeah.
there is one of the roller coasters there is called the Georgia Scorcher, and it's open, but you stand, and like there's like a little seat you kind of sit on, but it has like hydraulic, like it bounces depending on
Yeah.
the height.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my husband, the last time, we will not go on that. Neither of us can do that roller coaster because I am at the height requirement, but I'm still too short technically.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
when I ride it, it's painful because
Oh.
I don't get the bouncing as much. And when I
Oh,
do, it
the kind of like the
slams me
shock
back
absorption.
down. I don't
Yeah, you
get
don't get the
that.
shock absorption.
Steven's so tall, he doesn't even sit on it. He's
Mm.
just standing the whole time because it's a standing
Ooh,
roller coaster. So he doesn't
I
get
hate those.
any of it because he's standing and he's so tall. My husband's 6'6". I'm so short, I can barely reach my feet down, and then it's slamming me the whole time. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot go on that roller coaster. But then there's like other ones that you get on there. They're nice, they're fast, they're fun.
Yeah.
I think the Batman's my favorite. The Batman is
Yeah.
so much fun.
I've never there's the Six Flags Great Adventure up here that I have
Mm-hmm.
not been to. I think ever because when I was in school, before I got the physics classes used to go to Six Flags and they would like write down like physics equations about the roller coasters and go on the roller coasters. But by the time I got to 11th grade, it was taken out of the budget and not put back in. But when we were in Disney this last time because I like for the most part I like all the roller coasters at Disney. I never have any issue
Mm-hmm.
on those because like they're good level roller coasters. They're all fairly comfortable. I don't go on Splash Mountain personally. It's not. I don't want to get wet. That's not a roller coaster. That's a flume ride. But like still, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't really need to get wet, especially because we're going in January usually.
Mm.
Not the time of year that you need that kind of ride. But we went on Space Mountain this time, which Space Mountain is one of those rides that it's a dark coaster
Okay.
but it's light enough that you can still kind of see the beams and the piling of the roller coaster as you're going. So even though I know I'm not going to hit anything because like that, they test it with like the tallest possible person and like and everything. Like I know I'm not going to hit anything, but I always feel like I'm going to. And the way that we were seated this time, my mom and my brother were in the car behind us, and my brother-in-law and I were in the front. And so I haven't sat in because Space Mountain is two or three cars. I think it's two cars of three seats each, and you're
Okay.
kind of like one behind each other, and like your legs kind of like you kind of like sit kind of like the way that your legs kind of go on the outside of the person in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother-in-law is 6'3", 6'4", and he was like, "Oh, should I go in the front?" I'm like, your knees are going to be like past your ears if you sit in the front. Like, no, there's no room
Yeah.
for your legs. So he sat behind me. So I was sitting not only in the front of that car, but I was sitting in the front of the front car, which I apparently
Mm-hmm.
haven't done in a while or ever for that matter. So I was like screaming the whole.
I love the
No,
front.
but like the thing is, with sitting behind someone with Space Mountain because it's so dark. If you're behind someone, you can see when the dip starts, so you can kind of anticipate. I like to be able to anticipate so I
Uh-huh.
can hold on properly. You can't do that when you're in the front. So I was screaming the whole time, like, why did I sit here? Why did I sit here? Why did I sit here? Or something like that. And we get off the ride, and my brother-in-law just goes, because the third person in our car was a single rider. He went, well, the person behind us was so loud the whole time. I went, no, that was me. Like, dude,
Nice.
because I did this for you so you could be comfortable. I sat in the front and screamed the whole time. That's me.
Yeah, we're a front of the roller coaster group. We love
I
being in the
don't mind
front.
it in like light coasters or outside coasters because we did Tron. That one is part dark coaster. It has a section that's outside. But that one, the front, it really is the best place to be because you have no one in front of
Okay.
you. Because like that one could be longer. That one is a light side. That one's like a bike almost kind of thing. So you're kind of lying down
Yeah.
almost. It's really cool. It could be a little longer in my opinion.
We like, apparently, we really like amusement
Yes, we
parks.
do.
I'm perfectly okay with
Yes.
this. Any other thoughts that you have for this two-parter?
Laughing maniacally is never a good thing. Never. I
No.
don't care if he says he's thinking about something funny he heard. The fact that, I mean, also the captions just said laughing maniacally. So there's also that. That's never a good thing. But also legally, could Felix just sell the wharf? Like, could he just get a contract started? Like, I
Um,
know I know Calvin needs to like say
sign
yes,
off
I'll
on
sign
it.
it. But like legally, is Felix in a place where he could get the ball rolling on this? I don't think so.
So, from what I can tell, Felix does have money.
Yeah.
Like he was left like some
Mm-hmm.
inheritance, but Calvin has most
Yeah.
of it because Calvin has the estate. Calvin has Wonderwolf. Calvin's in charge of all of the rentals within
Mm-hmm.
Oceanside. So, with that, I don't think Felix actually could completely get the ball
Mm-hmm.
rolling, and I think that's I know he asked Bob to get him like, off the property, but as you could see, Felix got really excited when Calvin agreed to do
Yeah.
so. So I think that would have made his life a lot easier. Um, and that goes into too, like when Franny's yelling at him, like, just let your brother die and you can inherit everything. It's because he doesn't have the main bulk of the
Yeah.
inheritance. So I think he needs that for that to have actually been
Mm-hmm.
possible. I don't think he ever would have actually gotten the condos going
Okay.
within um
Yeah, I knew
Oceanside that way.
he always would have needed Calvin's like okay on it, but I'm like, I feel like you're not in a place where you can get the ball rolling on this because it's not your property to sell. Like
Yeah.
condo developers wouldn't be like, yeah, sure, we'll talk about this property that you don't own. Like at least not
Yeah, and
good
then like
ones.
going through everything that they did, and then him freaking out with like the kids and the carousel and everything else, and it's just like Felix, you can't even do
Yeah,
this
I would say
because
those
you're
horses on that carousel were creepy.
Mr. Goiter.
Mr. Goiter, and there was something about like I don't remember what started the line of like now your daughter's locked herself to a carousel, and I went, well, to be fair, Louise locked Tina to the carousel.
Yeah, Louise did it,
Technically,
but
Louise did the locking
Tina's Tina's leaned into it.
just a little bit. Um, but I do feel for Tina if Mr. Goiter is important to her. I
Yes, she
do.
keeps his head.
She did keep his head, which is creepy. Um, but yeah, there's many reasons why it's not a very popular ride. Like
Yeah, you can definitely tell.
carousels at least need to be well kept in order for them to be somewhat popular because people won't go on a carousel. Like carousels are like that's a slow nauseating one that like if there's nothing else to do and the line is short, sure I'll go on a carousel. Like they're
Yeah, we
they're
go
fun.
on it with the
They're still fun.
kids.
Yeah.
We'll do it with the kids because the kids love it.
Hmm. But I was not on the side of the developers that were just let's smash everything with a hammer, but
Mm-hmm.
like I know they're just trying to do their jobs. I do appreciate that, but you know,
It makes me
Tina has a
wonder, like,
point.
I know how these piers are. Like, I know these types of places exist. Like, how much
Yeah.
is under these things to hold all this?
I mean, well, to be fair, the entire thing is just on wooden pilings. Like,
Yeah,
I'm shocked it hasn't. I'm shocked the whole thing didn't collapse.
and like actual piers though, how much of that is like in real life? Because I we don't really have that here, but I
Yeah,
know it's
well,
more common in other
I would,
areas.
I would say at least the Jersey Shore towns that I've been in that have boardwalks,
Mm-hmm.
the boardwalk itself doesn't have the stuff on it. I would say like your more typical
Okay.
like pier that has the stuff on it, I think is more West Coast. I'm only speaking. I've only been to a couple places in the Jersey Shore, but I would say like they do have like these kinds of rides and things. They're next to the boardwalk, like but they're on
Okay.
land. The boardwalk itself, like there might be like one building maybe or a couple buildings that are on it, but you're not getting like the big amusement park rides and a lot of building. That's
Mm-hmm.
the boardwalk and the pier is the foot traffic next to the other stuff.
Because it makes me think of the Screamacane. Like, I know
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's
obviously it
heavy.
starts off, it's already like on,
Yeah.
ground and it,
Mm-hmm.
goes out. It's a pier. But I'm just curious of like how far back is that Screamacane? Because that's possibly also on top of wood.
Yeah.
So it looks a little terrifying. Like Wonder Wharf looks like a great time, but it
Yeah.
also looks a little terrifying. So it makes me curious of the logistics of it all.
Yeah, neither of us are architecture
No.
experts on how wooden piers work. I'm fairly certain about this, but I do want to ask. The song that was in the credit sequence for the first part, that was a Skyfall parody, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I was right.
I'm glad I knew
Wanted
that.
to, I wanted to make sure. I was like, this is definitely
Yes,
Skyfall.
that is definitely Skyfall. And of course, it's Linda singing it.
Yeah, because that
So
was like the right time frame for it. I did love Felix saying like when I'm done with you, you won't be Calvin Fishhood, you'll be Calvin Krabs. I just wrote down, are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
yeah. I cannot escape the SpongeBob references with you. I
You
don't want to.
literally
I don't
no
want to,
sponge.
but
I'm a plethora of unneeded references. Be them SpongeBob, uh, be them The Simpsons, be them Once Upon a Time, truthfully Disney. I can like I'm proud of myself that when I said smash them with a hammer, I didn't go into Yzma mode. I'm proud of myself that I didn't
true.
do that. But
We're
like
just
with
adding Bob's Burgers to the list.
we're adding Bob's Burgers. Well, I brought up. I was talking to my dad about Bob's Burgers
Oh.
yesterday because he was talking about. We were making jokes about The Simpsons and other things. So I mentioned from Linda's the Psychic when
Mm-hmm.
she calls the
The weird
and he
noise.
goes and he goes, are they wondering why Jerry Lewis is calling? Because we're talking about The Simpsons, there's a character that's based
Mm-hmm.
on Jerry Lewis, and then my dad went, "Oh, the Simpsons character would be a great voice for our cat Mabel," which he's not wrong because it's a character that's Arnie Pie. He's the
Mm-hmm.
cop. He's like the helicopter anchor.
Yeah.
He's Arnie Pie in the sky because it's just his line, the line that he was laughing at. That would be my cat because like the way she looks at us was like, well, I'm not gonna get it. You have to get it. Is like when they're him and Kemp Rockman are going back and forth, and his line just goes, "Well, I can't see through metal, Kent."
Oh my
I don't know
god.
what it's that tonality of, well, I can't open the closet by myself. That's our cat.
That makes sense. I like Mabel.
Ma-
Mabel doesn't know it, but Mabel's my buddy.
Mabel's a good cat. She's the best cat. She's a little tuxy, and soon I will have a Lego version of her.
I'm so excited for that. I can't wait to get all the updates
It
for
looks
all
just
of
like
it.
her.
It does.
I'm gonna try and spread it out, but honestly, it's 1,700 pieces. It's gonna take me maybe 2 days.
What's that like? Because we can't do that. As parents, we cannot do Lego sets split apart like that because we have children. So we'll have to like do it in one go. And it's
Yeah.
hilarious watching us
Well,
try
it's
and
like,
survive
to be
that.
fair, the last Lego set that I did was about 1,700 pieces. I
Mm-hmm.
think I did it over the course of 2 days. And it's because I built up until a certain section, then just didn't open any more boxes or any more bags. Like
See, ours
I
was trying to hide the things because we got all the Lego up
yeah,
high. We don't have many spaces to hide things from
yeah,
children.
this is true. I did really appreciate their tactic for figuring out what the text messages could mean of
Mm-hmm.
like, here are the possible autocorrect options for these various words. What could it mean? That is a good tactic.
They are really smart. It's kind of crazy how
They're
you watch
smart when
this.
they
They're
want to
so
be.
smart when they want to be, or when someone's life is in danger. And I love that, and I think that's great. It's just it makes it feel also a little bit more human because I think we all have situations like that where like I'm a
Hmm.
lot smarter in certain situations and it hits at the right time because be it inspiration or it's needed or whatever reason,
Hmm.
it's nice seeing that in the cartoon as well because they mess up a lot. They mess up a lot. They say things they shouldn't. They have pure chaos at times, as we do in our own
Hmm.
lives. And it's like I think that's where the comfort comes in. It's comforting to
Yeah.
watch crazy things that actually could technically happen.
Yeah. Well, like
Because that's
you're
Bob's Burgers.
no, it is, and it's very realistic, like you said about like they have their moments of like, when they're very smart, and then the rest of it's kind of chaos. Like yesterday, I could barely speak, mainly out of sleep deprivation. But then today, my best friend who's getting married was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Do I?" Like, she was like, "I'm scared to call venues because that means I'm sorry." I'm like, "Okay, what's the scary thing?" And I had a very smart thing of when she told me what the scary thing was. I'm like, "Can I use some project management speak that I've learned recently?" She's like, "Sure." Hit me with it. And I gave her this nice little analogy of like, here's what's happening. Here's what you're trying to do. Here's what you
Mm-hmm.
should be doing. She's like, wow, that is so smart. I'm like, thanks. I had a moment of like, okay, we got to break this down. You're trying
Yep.
to check off dependencies, but you got to finish one before you get to the next one. She's like, that makes so much sense. I'm like, thank you.
It
Every
works
once in
kind
a
of like
while, I have
a
these moments.
self-therapy moments too. Like sometimes I have to treat my self-care
Mm-hmm.
as like a to-do list or like a getting to the next future. Like it's a
Yeah.
project for future me. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yeah.
Like if I treat myself as a project for future me, if I go ahead and drink all this water, do my skincare, make sure certain things are done for myself, and get enough, go to bed so I know I get enough sleep. I'll feel better. it's
Mhm.
it's like you have to almost I think I've told you before, I have to treat myself like a plant
Yes.
for me to feel human.
Mhm.
Well, I have to feed myself, get plenty of water, and get plenty of sunlight, and then I'll feel human again.
Yeah. Human again, only human again.
There it is.
We found another reference.
Found another reference.
That's Beauty and the Beast from on Broadway.
Yes. So, what did you think of our two-parter?
I really enjoyed it. I do have one more chaos note before I give you my
Oh,
score.
please.
Bob, when they were about to die, I think it was Bob or if one of them said, "I'll never know what."
They were about to die.
Someone was about to
You said
die.
chaos notes.
I didn't write down who said it, but I was like, whoever said I'll never know who wins Game of Thrones. I think it was Bob. My response was literally everyone loses. That's the ending.
All right then.
If you've seen the finale of Game of Thrones, you know what I mean.
I know nothing.
Yeah, basically everyone dies. The end.
I like that you say chaos notes. Like
That's what
this
these
is.
are. Like,
They're chaos notes.
With the Once Upon a Time ones, truthfully, you have my fun facts, you have my stuff referenced by videos, you have my commentary notes, and then I would consider the rest of it chaos notes, quite frankly. Like, I used to call them, when I was doing the stats rewatch, I used to call them my unhinged inner monologue thought notes, which is very descriptive, but very long and hard to say. So I think reframing them as chaos notes, I think that's the best way to phrase them.
I'm gonna start typing that now next to my because I have like I don't know if you've ever seen. It's just like
I don't look at your notes.
I have like bullet points essentially, but it goes usually like the different puns, and then I go burgers of the day. Then I write fun facts, and the last one just says notes. Just from now on, I'm just gonna have to write chaos notes instead. I love it. But
chaos
yes,
notes.
what did you score these?
So both parts get the same score because it's the same episode just over the course of 40 minutes. It gets 9s across the board. It's solid 27. Again, it's a thing of I can't tell you why it's not a 10. It just doesn't feel like one, and that's the only way I can explain it is comparing it to other ones that have gotten 10s for certain categories or just that have gotten 30s. There are some episodes like what's the last one that I gave a 30? It was recent, I believe.
Very.
Very
recent.
It was a Slumber Party. So within this season.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Not as recent as I thought it was, but
same.
It's within the season. There are some episodes that like just watching it's because what differentiates a 27 from a 30, those 3 points, truthfully, is some alchemical, magical ether, something going on in my brain, and it's truthfully it's nothing to do with the episode. Truthfully, it's a vibe and a feeling that separates a 27 from a 30. Cannot explain it, but this was a highly enjoyable experience, so it gets 9s across the board.
I'm okay with that. I mean, it's 30s for me because duh.
Yeah.
This is everything that I look forward to in Bob's. I told you before. Yeah, like this is kind of where it seems to go from. Like I said, it took us the first 2 seasons are so short. You don't really get to know the characters all that great until you get into season 3. Then you get to watch season 4, and you've gotten to know the characters. You know who you like. You know who you don't like. They mess with your mind a little bit on that because then you suddenly aren't happy with characters you do like. This seems to thrust us into like Bob's being comfort is the best way I think I could say it. It's now turned in probably more so of a comfort show, and you get excited to watch it. You know the characters, and then you get to just it's fun. It just kind of catapults it.
Yeah, and like I could definitely see this episode like on a rewatch becoming a 30. Because I was talking about this earlier with my I was on live, so I was talking with my moderators and how certain characters on Once, the more I watch the show, the more they grow on me. Like Hook, quite frankly, like I always enjoyed his character, but I'm enjoying him so much more now this time around. I think it's just because I'm watching the show again in a different way with all the context of what happens. I'm watching it also now thinking about what you're going to be enjoying, and I knew you were going to like him anyway. And I was right. But like I enjoy his character so much more than I ever have before. It's like on these rewatches things shift. So I could see this like becoming a 30 upon a second watch after having watched more of Bob's Burgers.
I could see you watching the next season or 2 and coming back to this and going, "Oh my god, actually this is 10."
Yeah.
I could see that happening as well. There's a lot of these episodes you're like, I don't know. But I feel like once you get further into
Mhm.
the show, once you go back and rewatch, you're gonna be like, oh wait, I get it now. It's one of those shows
Yeah.
too. It's got really great. I think we've talked about this before. It's got great rewatchability. It's
Yeah, it definitely
I have
does.
rewatched. I constantly watch Bob's Burgers. I can't tell you how many times I've seen these episodes because it's constantly on my TV. It's this and Bluey
Yeah,
are almost always on my TV, and
that's fair.
they're good things. Good things.
Yeah.
And
This is a show that I would put in the same category of like The Simpsons or
mhm.
like with Family Guy, in that there's so many episodes that they don't necessarily all have context with each other, that they would benefit from us from yeah, that they would benefit from a shuffle button.
Yes, they would benefit from a shuffle button. It's also one I like to go in and you've got all your different holiday episodes. I love to be like, okay, it's Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving or usually the day after because I usually do a lot of the cooking. That I can sit down
Mhm.
and watch all the Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving episodes, and it's a great time.
Yeah.
And I can do the same thing with Halloween. It's October. It's leading up to Halloween. I want to watch all the Halloween Bob's Burgers episodes, and same with Christmas.
Yeah.
We do that on Christmas Eve some days. Sometimes Christmas Eve is cookies and watching all the Christmas Bob's Burgers episodes. Like it's
Mhm.
so much fun. It's become it's become a huge part of my life
Yeah.
in every aspect now.
Mhm.
So it is the epitome of comfort show.
This is true.
So it's great.
Yeah.
I just repeat myself a lot. I know this.
It's okay, so do I.
But I'm happy that you're enjoying it.
Oh yeah.
So this is the end of a season.
It is.
So we now know your average for season 4.
Is a 24.09.
Mine's a 25.09.
Oh, that's funny. So let me see how that compares to which honestly is very, very close to last season, which I would say is probably our easiest comparison because that one is
It
24
is.
episodes. That average is 24.26. It's not that far off.
My season 3 is 24.47.
Oh, okay.
Wow, we're really close on these.
Yeah. So it's like it's not that far off. So like it's like the fact like season 4 did feel like it had more low scoring episodes, but honestly, I think
Mhm.
it just I think for how many more lower score episodes it had, it also it didn't have a lot of mid range episodes. I think
Yeah.
compared to the last couple seasons, it didn't have as many mid range episodes. This has a 24 average because it's averaging between a 16, which is my lowest score thing so far, and 130. A lot of 28s. I see a lot of 28s as I'm looking right here. A 29, a 27. Like it's ranging up against a bigger range. Whereas I think
Mhm.
last season might have just had more like 23, 24, 25 episodes.
I think we're really gonna love season 5 though. Like I know I said you were gonna like season 4, but there is something about season 5 is gonna have a couple of course that you're not gonna like
Mhm.
because it's 21 episodes. You're not gonna like every single one.
I'm seeing right now the Millie Churian candidate.
Yeah, you're not gonna like that one. You I don't think you're gonna like that one.
I do see the
Which is
Gale
fine.
Tales though, which those will be
The
the
Gale
same.
Tales.
Oh no, those won't be the same week. Never mind. Oh, they were gonna be. But no.
Oh, I think you seem to like the Thanksgiving
Mm-hmm.
ones because they're just fun. Dawn of
Yeah.
the Peck is going
Okay.
to be, I think, a
Oh,
fun
that makes
time
sense.
for us. You see the title Father of the Bob,
Mm-hmm. That's a wedding, I would
meaning,
assume.
nope,
Oh, that was his dad.
that's his dad.
Oh.
So you will meet Bob's dad.
Okay.
And like just the it's speakeasy writer. There's so many in this that the
Yeah.
titles really do a great because then you get to the last episode, which oh god, we're gonna have to.
I'm guessing it's about the fish odors.
It's about it's a fish odor. It's a fish odor episode, but I think it's one of my favorite fish odor episodes. This two-parter, I think, is what really kind of puts fish odor more so into the show because we have our scenes with him. We've got
Yeah.
like you got your rock paper scissors scene with fish odor.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all the different times he pops in about rent, different things. This he tends to show up a lot more, I think, leading on.
Okay.
But yeah, we've got a whole nother season. We have finished
Yeah.
4 seasons of Bob's Burgers.
Been a good 4
It
seasons. Which is
has.
like it's weird because we're doing the same time as Once Upon a Time, which
Mhm.
that one obviously we're in the middle of season 2 right now. But like it's because these are short. Like if we did these one at a time, we'd be doing Bob's until the end of time.
Oh god, yeah, cuz like I just shared today
The season
the
14
season
finale.
14 finale and what it's going to be called and like just the blurb of it, nothing like crazy or anything. doesn't really give anything away. And that's all we're
Yeah.
getting this year. But it's already been approved for season 15. So at this moment, you have 10 more seasons to go, 11 once you include season 15. I'm sure
Hmm.
sometime in the summer or early fall, we'll get the announcement that they've been picked up for more seasons.
Yeah.
I do not see this show ending anytime soon. And if it does,
No.
I will be severely shocked because it's very much loved, as you can see.
Yeah. It's like I can see this going the way, like I say, of The Simpsons or
Hmm.
Family Guy. Family Guy is celebrating its 25th anniversary. I think The Simpsons is on season 36. Like there may be a time. I would say The Simpsons could probably stop at this point.
Yeah.
Like it's they're kind of running on the same gags. But and I think a lot. I wouldn't be shocked if some of their actors might want to retire someday, because they've been doing this for 36 years. But like I could see it going that way of being a long running show. Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Once Upon a Time, episode 215, The Queen is Dead. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our new book club, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Katie and Lauren and edited by Katie.